Forgive the way I look this early. I've not long woken up. But I had an idea to try and make myself read more. My hair does not want to cooperate with me today. Is this week I'm going to be swapping my screen time for reading time. So I looked at my screen time for last week, and on Monday I had screen time of 7 hours and 52 minutes. So I'm going to round that up, the 8 minutes, to 8 hours. So today we have 8 hours of reading to do. So I'm going to grab my phone. I'm going to go into my timer, and I'm going to set it for 8 hours. And then throughout the day, every time I'm reading, I'm going to, obviously at the timer countdown, but when I stop reading, I will pause it so that I get 8 hours over the day. So I'm going to start with finishing off Finlay Donovan Knocks 'em Dead. I'm 65% in. I've only got like an hour or two left in the audiobook, so I'm going to finish that off today. And then I'm going to pre-order the audiobooks for A Guide to the Dark and The Third Daughter, because they both come out on 18th, which is tomorrow. But then after I finish Finlay Donovan today, I probably might jump into either The Last Supper or Before Your Memory Fades. And I'll update you when I do. Hey guys, just an update. I haven't really been reading too much today. I went shopping with my mum earlier, and I've been out for most of the day. I got back here about 5, I think. So yeah, reading for 8 hours seems unlikely, so I will roll over. So by the end of the week, I would have swapped my screen time for book time. I have finished Finlay Donovan Knocks 'em Dead. I didn't love it as much as the first book. The first half seemed like a copy and paste of book 1, but then the second half really took it to some places we haven't seen before, and the ending was very interesting, and it makes me very excited for Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun, and see what's going to become of Finlay and Barrow and everything after all that stuff went down. I'm also watching reading sprints on Covers with Cassidy on YouTube. So now next up, I'm not going to start A Guide to the Dark or The Third Daughter yet, purely because I've pre-ordered both of the audiobooks and I won't get those till tomorrow, but I don't have to have those read until the 22nd and the 26th, so I have time for those. So I think I'm going to see what I've got on my Audible that I actually own, because I've got a lot of audiobooks. And see what I've got. Now, almost all of these I own either digitally or physically. So, I've got The Butcher by Laura Cat Young, Until the Last of Me by Sylvain Bell, Not Good for Maidens by Tori Bovalino, what else do I have on here? The Shadow Crown by Melissa Blair. What else do I have? Literally just scrolling through my tons of audiobooks. Paladin Prophecy by Mark Frost. I could go back to. Or I can go to Chain of Iron. Unless I want to read a really big book. I can also check my BookBeat because I also have that. So, what do I have with BookBeat that I own? Because I'm trying to make a dent in my physical TBR as well as my audiobook TBR and my digital TBR. So I'm kind of trying to knock off as many as I can with the same things. I do own 5 Survive, but that is currently at my friend's. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I've been seeing that one around a lot. Plain Bad Heroines. Reboot and Rebel is a shout because I have Reboot right there. So I might go on to that. I haven't really read much by A Mutant Terror, but I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this one. Because when I hear people talking about A Mutant Terror, they almost always reference this duology. You probably can't see it very well because I haven't, but Reboot. I own this one, and I have the audiobook on BookBeat. Also YA dystopian fantasy and things like that. I tend to read pretty easily. I don't know much about this other than people die and then some people come back, and these people are called reboots, and they're typically faster, stronger, able to heal, and less emotional than regular humans apparently. So yeah, I'm probably going to give this one a go because it knocks off something off my physical TBR and my audiobook TBR. I don't currently have Rebel with me as my friends because I thought I was going to be able to read this one while I was here, and then I never got around to it. Or I have How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. But I think because this one's been on my shelf for a very long time, I'm going to go with this one and see how much of a dent I can make in this one, because the audiobook I have for this one is 8 hours and 42 minutes, and I have 7 hours left of my challenge. It's currently 7:45, so I doubt I'm gonna get 7 hours in, but I think I can probably get maybe 3 and roll over to tomorrow because I haven't got anything to do tomorrow. What is it? One of my cats is meowing outside my window. So yeah, I'm gonna make a start on Reboot, and you will actually get to see me reading something for once. Hey guys, so a quick update before I get into reading today. I didn't read much last night, but I did read the opening 10% of Reboot, which I actually really enjoyed. YA is really easy to read and it's got a really interesting concept. So reboots are people who die and then come back to life as a side effect of something called the KDH virus, which wipes out a lot of humanity. This typically only affects younger people, There are some adults that come back as reboots, but they usually get killed pretty quickly because there's something wrong with them when they come back. So we get introduced to that. The reboots are looked after by a company called Hark, who trains them and utilizes them basically as weapons. So we meet Ren, who in this facility has the highest number of 178, meaning she was dead for almost 3 hours before she rebooted. And she is extremely formidable. She's faster, stronger, and heals quicker than humans. And reboots also have the sort of side effect: the higher the number, the less of their humanity they retain. So Ren is literally seen as like a machine because she just is nothing there. And a new batch of reboots come in, one of which is Callum, who has an extremely low number of 22, meaning, unlike other reboots, he is practically human. And they're training these new reboots. Of the trainers who have numbers above 120, the highest number gets first pick, which is Ren, and usually she picks the newbie with the highest number and therefore has the best survival rate for her trainees. But Callum immediately glues himself to her side and goes out of his way to break convention and talk with her, even though it's kind of looked down upon by the other reboots, and asks her to train him, and she's like, oh, but I don't train low numbers. And he's like, why not, when you're obviously the best? And she begins to think, well, maybe we shouldn't be training based on number, but on the trainer's ability. Obviously Ren being the best, she thinks that she might be able to train lower numbers to survive, but she's not really considering it too much right now. But you can tell from the opening that this is going to be a romance at some point, which I'm not keen on, but we shall see. So I've got 6 hours and 45 minutes left on my timer from yesterday, and then if I can complete that, I will start on day 2 reading. My screen time, obviously I'm not going to try and do like 8 hours every day of reading, but I will make sure that the week adds up to it, because I do have 2 or 3 days of screen time where they're like really low, only a couple of hours, so the rollover from the days before is going to be key. So I will be listening to the audiobook of Reboot as well as reading it physically. So let's go. Just an update for you while my hair's being an absolute fiend. I am now a quarter of the way through Reboot. Yeah, actually really enjoying this. So far we've just kind of following Ren as she's training Callum, but we get to see the divides between them. So Callum being 22 and Ren being 178. There's a massive difference in their physical ability, which means Ren is finding it difficult to train Callum because he can't keep up with her in the way her previous trainees had. But there's also the divide of Callum grew up before he became a Reboot in the wealthier side of Austin, whereas Ren grew up in slums. And when they go on their first assignment together, where Callum is observing Ren, carrying out her duty as a reboot, he is shell-shocked by the state of the slums, being as he's never been there. Ren doesn't understand because obviously she grew up in their environment, it's normal. And then we get to see when another one of the trainees, 43, comes back from the assignment with another trainer, Lissy, who has a track record for getting her trainees killed. He kind of unleashes all this pent-up anger towards the humans and attacks the officer watching them. Ren obviously steps in and prevents him from actually hurting the human officer, Leb. But she knows that the trainee will be killed for that, and she doesn't understand how Callum is upset by this until the next day, where he calls it a monster that enjoys hunting humans. And this really upsets Ren, even though she doesn't admit it. It really upsets her and leads her to basically beat the crap out of Callum in the next training session, which upsets her even more because she doesn't understand why she's feeling this way, and she can't even identify a lot of these feelings because she's kind of lost that part of herself. But there is something more going on, which we learn through Ren's roommate Eva, who is a 56, and the human scientists have been performing experiments on the under 60s, and Ren is now being confronted with this and the changes in Eva's behaviour, even though she has technically disobeyed a direct order in talking to Eva about this. And she's kind of confused about why they are experimenting on the under 60s. My theory is, considering the way Eva acts at those moments, she becomes a lot more primal, a lot more animalistic, but her physical capabilities increase almost to not quite matching with Ren. She's still a lot weaker than Ren, but she's a lot more powerful than she should be given her number. And it makes me think that the Hark facility is testing on those with lower numbers to see if they can actually increase their physical abilities to match the higher numbers. But obviously it's having some unintended side effects. So that is my theory right now. I'm not sure what's going to actually happen. I do know from the synopsis something happens to Callum and Ren is ordered to deal with him and she can't do it. So I have a funny feeling that Callum is going to break a major taboo of the facility, and they're going to ask Ren to, take him out to deal with him. And she's not going to be able to, considering her growing attachment towards Callum. This might end with both of them fleeing the Hark facility and, potentially being hunted down by Hark. That's my guess anyway. So I am going to continue with this. I did have the audiobooks for A Guide to the Dark and The Third Door delivered today. So I'm probably going to spend the rest of today reading Reboot. And if I haven't finished this by the end of today, tomorrow I will have to start A Guide to the Dark, because that blog tour is on the 22nd, and almost immediately after that I will have to start The Third Daughter, because that is on the 26th. Plus I'm actually away on the 22nd all day, so technically I will only have 2 days to read A Guide to the Dark, but the audiobook is only like 7 hours, so I should be able to smash that one out pretty easily. So yeah, I'm going to go back to this for a bit, and we shall see how it goes. of the way through Reboot. We've been introduced to what's called the Reboot Reservation. And Ren learns about this on an assignment to capture someone named Milo. Milo works for the Reboot Reservation, and his whole job is helping Reboots escape from Hark. And this is because a lot of people want to get rid of Hark, but the only way they can do that is if the higher number Reboots are either on their side or dead, because they pose the biggest threat. Meaning Ren right now is target number 1 because she has the highest number. However, she does cover for the human officer Leb, who is working with the Reboot Reservation because his daughter is a Reboot and in one of the facilities, not this one, but he wants to get her out, but she's only a 39, which means for the Reboot Reservation she isn't a high priority. So Ren is dealing with all of this information and keeping it secret. She is watching her best friend be experimented on and losing parts of herself, her skills, and just becoming something else. And then in between all this, she's got growing feelings for Callum, but she has now been given a warning. Basically, Callum, because of his disobedience, he talks back, he doesn't follow direct orders. They've basically told Ren, as his trainer, she needs to show immediate improvement in his behaviour, or they're going to kill him. And Ren doesn't say it out loud, but in her head she knows she can't allow that to happen. So she is now going to probably push Callum to his absolute limit to try and make him better so that he doesn't die. But she's still struggling with a lot of these emotions. So I'm just under 5 hours left on my screen time for reading time swap. And I've got, I think, about 5 hours left in the audiobook, is it? 5 hours and 39 minutes left in the audiobook. So, considering it's 4:30, I should be able to finish this today. It's, you know, very fast paced. The writing style is really simple, so it's really easy to fly through it. And YA, I found as I got older, I don't know how to describe it. For me, I'd almost call it like a mindless activity, you know, the kind of activity where you can switch your brain off doing it and you don't have to heavily focus on something. That's what reading YA is like to me now. I read things, you know, like George R. R. Martin, Sanderson, you know, epic high fantasy, where I've really got to focus on every little thing going on. And then when I read something like this, I can just kind of switch off and fly through it. So yeah, it's getting really interesting. Probably towards the halfway point, something is going to happen. There will be a catalyst around there. We'll probably see Ren and Callum dealing with that catalyst, and then obviously there's definitely going to be a cliffhanger at the end, purely because there's a sequel. It's not a standalone. So and then for those of you wondering, yes, my foot is in a bandage because I think I've done something to my Achilles tendon. And if you see me scratching my back a lot, it's because my tattoo is really itchy right now. I'm in the middle of having a full back piece inspired by Nevernight and Empire of the Vampire being done on my back. So yeah, I can show you a little bit of that. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but not today, but I will show you at some point the tattoo. But yeah, it's going really well. I'm really enjoying it, and I hopefully should be able to smash this one out today. So I will keep reading and checking in a bit. So just wanted to update you. I am now halfway through Reboot. I'm really enjoying it. Shit is starting to go down. So Eva has essentially committed suicide because of these experiments and seeing what they did to another young Reboot, where he literally was chewing chunks out of Callum. Because apparently, according to Eva, like, the closer they are to human, the more they smell like meat. And Eva, knowing what it's going to turn her into, and she can feel her humanity being taken away from her, incapacitates Ren, and then goes and shoots him out to the human guards until they eventually kill her. This has a massive impact on Ren. And when she's set out on a kill mission that night with Callum, she just isn't with it. She's completely checked out mentally. This leads to Lissy and her new trainee both being killed. But they do manage to bring the adult Reboot in, even though Callum has been ordered to kill him. He refuses to do it. So Ren knows on the flight back that Callum will be killed for that, for disobeying a direct order. So she asks Lev to help her, and he refuses. So when they get back, she kind of makes it her fault and says that she hadn't prepared Callum for a kill mission, because, you know, she's not used to training low numbers, and she didn't realise he was going to be so emotional about it. And this temporarily spares both of their lives. But Ren is told that it will be sent on another kill mission, and if Callum cannot follow through with killing the other adult Reboot, then Ren has to kill him, which is something she's not prepared to do. So she's trying to think of a way out of this situation for them, especially since Callum is adjusting physically to being a Reboot, if not mentally. And then she remembers that Lev has a Reboot daughter, Adina, and he wants her back from Hark. So she goes to him and says, look, you know, I am the best Reboot in this facility. I've got one of the highest numbers ever bloody seen, and I will get your daughter out if you can get me and Callum to the reservation. And this is where Lev changes his mind. He's like, right, I'm in. You get me my daughter out, and I will take you to the reservation. He doesn't yet know that Ren is planning to bring Callum. He thinks it's just for her, but, you know, she is now officially done with Hark. Now that her best friend has died, the boy she is, you know, very slowly developing feelings for, his life is also being threatened. When I first started reading it, I assumed it was going to be insta love, but like, now we're halfway through, nothing's really happened. We can see the attraction between the two, and, you know, Callum cracks jokes about it. But nothing's happened between them apart from, you know, hand holding and a couple of hugs. That's about it. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the second half goes. I should definitely be able to finish this tonight, if not the very first thing in the morning. You know, I've got about 200 pages left, so I should realistically be able to finish this tonight. But I just wanted to give you a quick update into where I am, what's going on, and I will check in with you soon. you. I am now halfway through Reboot. I'm really enjoying it. Shit is starting to go down. So, Eva has essentially committed suicide because of these experiments and seeing what they did to another young Reboot, where he literally was chewing chunks out of Callum. Because apparently, according to Eva, like, the closer they are to human, the more they smell like meat. And Eva, knowing what it's going to turn her into, and she can feel her humanity being taken away from her, incapacitates Ren, and then goes and shoots a bunch of the human guards until they eventually kill her. This has a massive impact on Ren, and when she's set out on a kill mission that night with Callum, she just isn't with it. She's completely checked out mentally. This leads to Lissy and her new trainee both being killed. But they do manage to bring the adult Reboot in, even though Callum has been ordered to kill him. He refuses to do it. So Ren knows on the flight back that Callum will be killed for that, for disobeying a direct order. So she asks Leb to help her, and he refuses. So when they get back, she kind of makes it her fault and says that she hadn't prepared Callum for a kill mission, because, you know, she's not used to training low numbers, and she didn't realise he was going to be so emotional about it. And this temporarily spares both of their lives. But Ren is told that it will be set on another kill mission, and if Callum cannot follow through with killing the other adult Reboot, then Ren has to kill him, which is something she's not prepared to do. So she's trying to think of a way out of this situation for them, especially since Callum is adjusting physically to being a Reboot, if not mentally. And then she remembers that Leb has a Reboot daughter, Adina, and he wants her back from Hark. So she goes to him and says, look, you know, I am the best Reboot in this facility. I've got one of the highest numbers ever bloody seen, and I will get your daughter out if you can get me and Callum to the reservation. And this is where Leb changes his mind. He's like, right, I'm in. You get me my daughter out, and I will take you to the reservation. He doesn't yet know that Ren is planning to bring Callum. He thinks it's just for her, but, you know, she is now officially done with Hark. Now that her best friend has died, the boy she is, you know, very slowly developing feelings for, his life is also being threatened. When I first started reading it, I assumed it was going to be insta-love, but like, now we're halfway through, nothing's really happened. We can see the attraction between the two, and, you know, Callum cracks jokes about it, but nothing's happened between them apart from, you know, hand holding and a couple of hugs. That's about it. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the second half goes. I should definitely be able to finish this tonight, if not the very first thing in the morning. You know, I've got about 200 pages left, so I should realistically be able to finish this tonight. But I just wanted to give you a quick update into where I am and what's going on, and I will check in with you soon. Last but one update. So I'm 80% through Reboot now. So they've escaped from Rosa, they've got into Austin, and they've gone to find Callum's family. He doesn't get a very good reception from his parents, but one of his friends treats him very nicely. And Ren kind of realizes that she was right, and that, Callum shouldn't have gone to have seen his parents, but she understands why he felt the need to. So, now they're in Austin, and the only thing left to do now is find Adina. She's supposed to be on assignment that evening, so I have a feeling very soon they're going to be bumping into her. But I don't really have... Well, I do, but it could go either way. So the two theories I've got for the ending of this is that either they rescue Adina comes with them, and they make it to the reservation. Or the other way I can see this going is they meet with Adina but get recaptured by Hark. So I'm not sure which way it's going to go, but I've only got like 65-ish pages left, so I'm excited to see how it actually ends, and whether or not I will be reading Rebel at some point in the future. So that would be interesting. So yeah, so I'm gonna read the last couple of pages and finish the last, how long's left in the audiobook? It says an hour and 42 minutes, but I'm listening on 2.5 speed, so it's probably going to be about 30-ish minutes. And I started my 7.5 hours today of reading, and I currently have 2 hours 47 left. So that'll probably get down to about 2 hours by the time I finish Reboot, and then I'm probably going to jump into A Guide to the Dark and try and read a little bit of that tonight, or I might start something else. I'm not sure yet, but I will keep you updated and let you know my final thoughts when I'm done. Finished Reboot. Yeah, it went the way I was expecting. In the end, we did have a bit of an action-packed scene. I was hoping for a bit more out of it. Maybe at least one death would have been interesting. But yeah, I ended up really enjoying it. It was nothing new, nothing special about it. No, very much typical YA for the genre, sci-fi, dystopian. But yeah, it had some cool concepts, cool premise, interesting setting. But yeah, apart from that, nothing overly unique or new about it. But I did end up enjoying it, so I think I'm going to give this a 3.5, 3.75, and probably going to move on to A Guide to the Dark, because I do need to finish that really soon. So that's what I'm probably going on to next, and you'll see me again soon.